Yeah, we're about 1 minute away from Life After Sports 23.
Okay.
I guess we're ready to go.
You're ready.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I had one TV interview this morning already.
Did you?
Thanks, Josh.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna say, it's a pleasure for me. I've been blessed to know you a long time. For you to be part of my life. I don't know if I ever said thank you for what you did for us to allow us to, play this game. I think I have, but publicly I haven't been able to. And Life After Sports 23.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you.
No, thank you. Hey, it's a platform that myself and James and all of us, our team and our family have put together for people to tell their story. And
Right.
Well,
I'm very appreciative of the fact that you took time out to do this with me. I waited a long time for this day. A lot of years, over 28 years I waited.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Has he never done anything?
You never told your story? Besides your book, have you ever told your story publicly?
Not really. It's so much, Greg. It would take me about 2 months of talking. Mr. Sherwood Brewer, I don't think you ever met him, because he never was with me in no doctor. But he was the one for many years tried to get the players together. He was having problems. The guys, they were not together. They did not want to get together for some reason or another. Many of them had forgotten about they even played in the Negro League, But he was trying to get the guys together, and they refused, a lot of them. And he was having a difficult time. I came in 1995. I met him in Kansas City at the 75th anniversary, Greg, of the Negro baseball game. I met Mr. Sherwood Brewer, and he and I got together the next day after we got home. And he came to Milwaukee, told me what he was trying to do. And of course, I joined them automatically. And what we did is there were some good people here in Milwaukee that helped me. And number one man was Marty Greenberg.
Marty?
He was an attorney. He took us on pro bono after hearing the story and what we were trying to do. And he involved several of his other attorneys to help us. And that's how we got started. He set all the paperwork up for the foundation and everything. Then Bud Seeley got involved because he owned the Braves at that time, back in when we started. And he was an acting commissioner, and he bought the story too. And he helped us by letting us have a wall of fame at County Stadium.
Yes, sir. I've seen it firsthand.
Yeah, the wall of fame was to give those players who had given so much to the game of baseball some kind of recognition. Satchel, Paige, Josh Gibson, Bell, all them guys had gotten recognition. But a lot of players that didn't get any kind of recognition, guys that were just as good as they were, never had the opportunity to display their talents in the major leagues, because of the color of their skin. Mm-hmm. But those players is what we, Mr. Brewer felt we should advocate for. Let the world know that these men too was a part of that history.
And Mr. B,
I write about a lot of it in my book, but there's some men that Satchel Paige did not strike everybody out in the Negro League. And Josh Gibson did hit home runs off a lot of those pitches. Right. But they got notoriety. And those guys that There's some guys hit home runs off of Satchel like they know owned him.
Oh no! Hey, Mr. B, can I
But
ask
he
you,
was a great player,
Mr.
and I don't take nothing away from that. But there were some other players that got no recognition, Greg, that was just as good. I'm writing my second book now, and I'm talking about the time when I came along. Things was changing somewhat. I don't know if you know that Branch Rickey's long-range goal was to use the Negro League as a minor league system for the major league. It never materialized, but that's what it was. Because those men that was too old to go in when the door was open, they went looking for young talent and signed them to long binding contract. So if the major league were interested, they had to purchase that contract. This is something that bypassed the historians and the writers. They didn't know what was happening. This was a means of making money for those individuals that missed their calling. These men like W. Duty Radcliffe and James Bell and many, Buck Leonard, many more of those guys that would have gone to the major league, but because of their age, they was not, they didn't go. But they did set up training within the teams of the Negro Baseball League. They went out and looked and found young talent. They found Hank Aaron. They found Ernie Bay. They found Willie Mays. These are the men, and me, and many, many more. And they signed us to long binding contract. So if a major league team were interested, they had to purchase that contract from the team, and they would get enough money to pay those older guys that was training us, preparing us to keep the league going. This is why the league lasted as long as it did.
So what about later in the Negro League in the 50s, heading to the 60s? Is it true that a majority of the Negro Leagues had been purchased by white men that wanted to control the league?
That's another thing.
Is that due to the minor league? They wanted to make it that?
Our history, Greg, but that happened not in the 50s. That happened in the 40s.
Okay.
That happened during the Depression.
Yes, sir.
The Negro League, see, they don't talk about what happened. The Negro League folded up during the Depression. They didn't have money to keep going, but 12 of those teams, 16 of those teams were brought back by men who had money, and most of them were white businessmen. Mm-hmm. They brought it back not to make history, to make more money, because money was tight back then. So what they did, they put those men that, they all knew each other, they brought back 16 of those teams, and they went on the ground.
Well, was it due to the fact that the Negro Leagues had started having more fans than the major leagues?
Well, that was from the beginning about that. But what happened here, these men, they hired black men as managers of the teams.
Okay.
And they set up money-making ventures. First thing they did was set up an all-star game between the Major League All-Stars and the Negro League All-Stars. Mm-hmm. This was a big money-making venture for those individuals, because they would draw overflowing crowds at every stadium they played in. Mm-hmm. And they played in Major League Stadium. That was the main thing of organizing them. The stadium they played in was minor league parks, small parks. But once these investors took over, they went to the major leagues. And they rented the major league park for them to play in, Greg, when the major league team was out of town. This was God working. I always say that. This was the Lord working, because the Negro League team drew more fans than those teams that owned the park. This was a mere thought of Jackie Robinson.
Yeah, you know what? And this
Economics, right?
yeah. That's why you here. You always have with me. You know what I mean? I appreciate that. And
Right.
ironically, my grandson is here too, and this is something for him to hear. And he plays baseball, and to see how it started, because it wasn't always mixed. It was segregated. The Negro League was started in 1920. You know what I mean? And the gentleman's agreement. Tell us about the gentleman's agreement. What was the gentleman's agreement?
Well, great gentleman's agreement. Ruth Foster started the Negro League. Not much has been said about that now, but he was the one who started this in 1920. But there were black men playing in the major league, Greg, in the late 1800s. They kicked them out. I use the word kick out because they dismissed them from the major league role by a gentleman's agreement. They didn't write nothing down. They just called all the owners together and said, made them refuse that they would not hire another black man to play on their team. There were a lot of blacks playing on the major league and the minor league in the late 1800s. They don't talk about it much, but it wasn't nice what happened. Almost overnight, all the great black ball players that was playing and disappeared. And you didn't hear from them anymore until Ruth Foster, 1920, started the Negro Baseball League.
Yeah, they said the congressional rule, the Jim Crow rule. That's what that's what it was. That's what it was called, right? Like you said, when you got dismissed, But I mean, you born in Arkansas and being the youngest ever to join the Negro Leagues. At 17 years old. Tell us what that was like. You know what I mean? Tell us what at 17 going to play with grown men.
Like I said, I came in during a time when those guys. This is after Jackie had opened the door. And those guys that missed their calling set up the Negro League team that actually was training ground for the Major League. A lot of players went to the minor league, Greg. A lot of players. When I was in 1953 and I was playing with Chicago, a guy by the name of Superman Pennington, I think the Yankees had signed him to a contract. He came back and played with us. He said they treated him like too bad down there. He didn't like the treatment he was getting. Yeah. And I'm sure that happened to a lot of those guys. But a lot of players went to the minor league through that system that was set up. The major league had to purchase the contract of the player. A lot of them went to the major league. A lot of them went to the minor league. But I was scouted by a gentleman from the Negro League. I pitched a no-hitter in high school against a state championship team. I pitched a no-hitter, and he asked me how would I like to play in the Negro League. I didn't even know what the Negro League was. Right? He said, we have a tryout Tuesday morning in Chicago, Washington Park, diamond number 3. and I didn't know how I was going to get there because, my mom and dad didn't have money to send me just like that. But my mama borrowed the money, Greg. She borrowed $20. I write about it in my book. She borrowed $20, and I'll never forget the morning I left. She hugged. I left my daddy crying. My sister was crying. And my grandfather, he was crying. He said, boy, you don't know nothing about big city. You're going up there, you don't know nothing about it. But I'll never forget my mom. She stood there, she hugged me after giving me the $20. She hugged me and said, baby, good luck. Greg, my ticket was $12, so I had $8 left.
You got to stretch that out.
I made it with the help of the good Lord. I met a man my first day in Chicago named McKinley Washington. He became a father to me. The first day I met in Chicago, I met him. I buried him 28 years later.
Yeah,
He became a father. The Lord put in my life that day. I arrived in Chicago.
That's right.
All of that is history, but I tried out for the Giants, and the rest was history. There were only 16 of us on the team, and I could run real fast. I could hit, and I could pitch. I was a pitcher by trade, but I also played other positions when I wasn't pitching. I knew I felt I was good enough to go to the major leagues right out of high school, but they didn't scout us. They knew nothing about me. I'll never forget my first professional game was pitched in Memphis, Tennessee against the Memphis Red Sox. And I was striking them out, and this guy, the white guy, he was scouting. He said, "Where you come from? Why don't nobody never heard of you?" And that was, things like that. But I was scouted. The Cubs was one interested in me. As a free agent, I went, but I got injured in spring training, and that was the end of mine. I broke my ankle in 2 places. It never healed. Mm-hmm. So I had to go another direction, Greg. I went to college, became a social worker. I worked 24 years for the state of Wisconsin.
Okay.
And I retired.
Mr. B, that doesn't surprise me. You always, I mean, even to your work and your walk now, you're always thinking about someone else. You're always,
right.
Helping people. Yeah. And, with that, me and James were talking about it, and Josh and Chris and Mitsu, the rest of the fellas. Right. If there's one person, in my time in Kansas City, I remember standing next to that cage every single time we came to town. Buck O'Neill was back there, you know what I mean? And I didn't understand what an honor it was to have him in my presence, or me in his presence, to be able to listen to his stories and listen to his knowledge. And, it was and I have to say probably
Buck was a great
times,
ambassador to the Negro League.
Oh, he was.
A lot of the players felt he could have done more, but things was not presented to him to do that way. But he was ambassador for us, and he did join us later. That's another part of my life, because he got an invitation to join yesterday. He never sent it in until later. Before he died, he did come in with us. But Buck made a lot of money as an ambassador for the museum.
Yep.
In Kansas City.
Everyone should see that too. Everyone should go there and take a tour of that the Negro League Museum.
The museum is really nice. I'm in the museum. A lot of us are. A lot of the players are there. But they don't get the glory. They don't get the
recognition.
They don't talk about them much.
Who do you?
They want to talk about Satchel, Paige, Josh Gibson, all those guys.
Well, let me ask you, in your opinion, give me your list of who was the greatest African American players or Negro League players that you've seen. I want your list.
All right, Greg. Let me tell you. I'll never forget the 75th anniversary of the Negro Baseball League. When I was playing, I had a nickname, Kid. Everybody, because I looked like a kid, There's a kid, there's a kid. And I walked in that hotel room that evening, and all those great ball players sitting around, and all I could hear was the word, kid, there's a kid, there's a kid. I didn't recognize them, many of them, and but the word kid kept ringing the bell. I had the opportunity to play with and against some of the greatest ball players, Greg, that ever played the game. I can truthfully say that because I know baseball. I was there. I was on the opposite team looking. Those old men, how great they were in their 40s, and some of them in their 50s. And you can imagine what they were like in their 20s.
Yeah.
Wow.
But they never had a chance. I would say Ted Double Duty Radcliffe, who was my coach. He was the manager of the team. He perhaps was the greatest player during that time that I happened to see play. He was 50 years old and still playing. But they call him double duty because he was a pitcher and catcher. In the early days, he caught the game Satchel Paige beat Bob Feller.
Okay.
And he pitched the next game and won it.
Yeah,
That's how he got the name Double Duty.
Yeah, that's no days. That's no rest.
Yeah, I got his trophy in my store here in Milwaukee. I've always, remember him as a great player. He was a great man. I was with him up until he died, back and forth. He helped me a lot with some of the older history. I wasn't there, but the books they wrote about me, he said, that's a lie. And I was there. He said, that didn't happen. And more than once, he would see things, hear things that they were talking about and say, that's not true. But, I wasn't there, so I couldn't say it didn't happen. All I can say is I had the opportunity to see some of the greatest ball players that ever played the game. Mr. Cool Papa Bell, they call him Cool Papa Bell.
Yes, sir.
Us younger players, he was training us how to run the base, I didn't know of his legacy, really. I could run real fast. I was known for my speed. And he took a likeness to me because of that. But I didn't know that he was the fastest player in the Negro baseball league. Right there at Old Comiskey Park in Chicago, he was training us how to run the bases, And he was amazing. He too, I spent a lot of time with that man. He passed a lot of history. I write about it in my book, the second book. He passed a lot of history down to me. I'll never forget it. And he was he didn't like a lot of the things they were saying about the Negro League, because he said, I was there. It wasn't like that.
So give me an example. But like, what was the perception that they were putting out opposed to the truth?
The Major League made that announcement, and I don't, most of the guys played along now in the 50s couldn't understand it. When they're speaking of stats, we didn't have that many stats. You couldn't go to the record books and find out much about us. There were no record books. It was, you kept your own stats, more or less. Mm-hmm. I'm saying that because the only stats they got about the Negro League came from newspapers. Greg, no team couldn't hire statisticians to travel with the team. They hardly made money to travel.
Right.
And how they gonna come up with accurate stats now of the Negro League ball players? They got some stats. There were some things written down, name, how many times they bet, and I guess they're going with this, but in the 50s, very little was written down about the Negro Baseball League.
So a lot of it was
inaccurate. We are now
inaccurate.
playing in the Major League there. And things were changing. Things was happening. And it wasn't long before they even stopped talking about the Negro Baseball League. Until Mr. Brewer started trying to get benefit for those players that were still living that played in the Negro Baseball League. I joined him. I had some help. We did get benefit for some of the players. But one of the things Mr. Brewer said to me, Greg, before he died, he said, son, I want you to keep it going. But remember one thing, some of your own is going to be your worst enemy. And that was so true. They fought, some of our own players fought me for what I was trying to do for them.
Do you know why they fought
And I'll
you?
never forget the 28th of May. It's a holiday with me because that was the day that Commissioner of Major League Baseball made an announcement that players that played less than 5 years will receive the Major League pension. This is something I have been trying to get him to do for over 28 years. Finally.
That's a good deal.
Yeah, that's what I said. You just said, but you're that guy, Mr. B. You know what I mean? That was going to be my next question. The journey that you've been on. To try to get these, these
Benefits.
pensions and benefits to former Negro League players, but also, I know sort of heartfelt in a sense that, like you said, 28 years passed, so many lives are gone, so many guys had to struggle, you know what I mean? It's like,
Right.
They're celebrating that, we're being recognized now a little bit, but at the same time, why did it take this long? You know what I mean? Why did it take so long?
Well, what happened is that during the 28 years, Greg, I did get benefit for some of the players. Some of that information is in my book. But when I started approaching the Major League for help, they referred me to baseball assistant team, BET. This is where they're gonna BET. The commissioner, Bud Selig, put in a force that BET could help former Negro League ball players. BET was a baseball assistant team was where the Major League players went to that needed help.
Right.
That's a long story there, Greg, and a lot of, I was there. I was fighting it all the time. I was going through it. Joe Black was put in charge of helping us. And that bothered me. Why not go to the organization that represented those players? That advocated for those players. Why not go to that organization? But no, they passed the Major League, passed a solution that if you played 4 years in the Negro League, first it was 2 and 2, but then the 4 years in the Negro League, you qualified. At that time, when that came about, only 36 players was living. They played 4 years in the Negro League and 4 years in the Major League. And I'm telling you this because Marty Irvin, who was involved in this, was my best friend. He was giving me the information. He said, we have to play 6 years to get a pitch in the Major League. Well, when they passed that 4 year, the Major League had to come back and give 4 years now to the Major League players. Mm-hmm. The Players Association was feeding off of what I was doing. I'm grateful for them because finally they got it to 43 days. And the last letter that I sent to the commissioner now, Mr. Manfield, was that since 41 days is the Major League pension, and you're saying the Negro League is equal to the Major League, these players that's living, and it was about 45 or 50 players still living at that time, should qualify for the Major League pension. I never heard from him.
See?
He never answered me until I read in this year, May 28th, the Sun-Times, New York Times, reported, Mr. Manfield said, living players of the Negro Baseball League that played less than 4 years will now receive the Major League pension.
So what kind of hoops do they have to
Great
jump?
day in my life, Greg. I felt that I had finished the course. I fought a good fight, but I finished the course.
Once they okayed it, they was gonna have hoops that they had to jump through to even get the money, right?
you know, they did say that that's when they start broadcast about the game that's coming up Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to invite all the living Negro League ball players to this.
Mm-hmm.
And that at this time is when they're going to reveal the pension plan and whatever we're going to do.
Okay.
Right now, I don't know I know they're going to use some of the guys on the play 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. I don't know how they're going to do that.
But still, no money has been allocated to the families.
Yeah, money has been allocated for that purpose.
Okay.
It will happen. I don't know how much, but it will happen. But you got to remember, there are a few players that are still living that played 4 years, 3 years. But Sealy put in, and that's another thing. But Sealy put in what they call a volunteer payment plan for the Negro League player. Guys that played 3 years. There was a lot of guys that played 3 years, not 4 years. So he put that volunteer payment plan in there that included them. A lot of them have gone home to glory now. A few of them left. And that was why I was fighting, because they only had a few left. I thought maybe they would do something for the few players that was living there had less than 4 years, 3 years. But they never answered me until the 28th of May, 2024.
Do you think
It's a holiday in my life.
and you know, I want to say thank you for your perseverance and all the things that to continue you went through to continue your fight. But did he really answer you, Mr. Manford, or did he answer? He
never.
Yeah.
He never answered a letter. I couldn't understand that. Well, Celia always answered.
Yes. People say a lot about Bud. Yeah.
I felt that I said, maybe they're not giving him his mail.
Trust me, he's getting his mail. He got enough assistance. Yeah, he knows. But see, that's something I don't understand.
Well, I didn't understand it, but I felt maybe he doesn't know what to say. Maybe he's working on something. Maybe when he get it together, he will notify me. All of these thoughts went through my head, Greg. But every day I go to the mailbox looking for a letter.
Yeah, that's crazy.
The guys calling me every day. Have you heard the thing?
It's crazy. Yeah. It's and it somehow it'll be his day on Thursday when all you guys are out there. You know what I mean? It'll be about him instead of about you and the former Negro League players that before you. And that's that's what's not right. It's like I said, man. Right is right, wrong is wrong, right? So
Right. I thought about those guys that's dead and gone, Greg. I thought about they will never know what happened. But that thought, all they were asking for, all they were asking through me, Greg, was a formal apology for what happened. That's all. They never got it. They got it now, but they'll never know they did.
See, and that's what happens. And that's Life After Sports 23. Also with Dave Parker, going through what he's going through with Parkinson's and stuff. I mean, he should be in the Hall of Fame. And I'm scared that he's going to be gone before he gets in the Hall of Fame. And he should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, a lot of the players I didn't see play, but when they were started putting Negro players in the Hall of Fame, there were some names that was mentioned to me, told to me, that should have gone before this guy, before that guy.
Right.
And that, those guys, they played with and against them. They were back there. They knew. But there were so many of them, Greg, until it would have been another Hall of Fame.
We're not going to let that happen. But, with that being said, that's what I'm scared for Dave Parker, and Gary Sheffield, I mean, those players, I mean, they should be in the Hall of Fame, they got to jump through hoops. It's sort of like Negro League players or you jumping through hoops to just fight for benefits and a pension and
Yeah.
let me ask you a question. When you look at baseball now, and we're 19, 40, 50, are you disappointed where we're at as far as men of color, where the game is today?
Yes and no. The game has changed, Greg. You know, the game has changed since your day. And I feel that players that's coming into the major leagues now, it's everything is computer now. They look at a kid, stats in college, or stats in high school, or stats, and they go in and they go in to look at him, and attitude says a lot. A lot of black ball players did not go or get drafted because of their attitude. And my wife, and that starts out in Little League. It starts out in baseball, learning how to play. My wife now got a program, a T-ball for a cause, where we train 4 and 5 years old. We start teaching them the game of baseball. So when they get up to Little League, if they start to play, they're going to know the game. They're going to know what to do. But that saying that is going to bring back the game. Right now, players overseas have taken over most of the major leagues now. A lot of names. And I got nothing against that because a lot of the ancestors played in the Negro Baseball League.
Yes,
but you're going in 10 years from now, you're going to see a big change. I probably won't be around, but you're going to see another change in baseball. They got that 15-second rule in there now to speed up the game. I don't know if that's doing the game any good or not. I look at it, make it go faster, but it's taking a lot away from the game, man. Guy walk around the mound and kick the dirt and spit the grass and rub up the ball. He can't do that anymore. And well, that's it's not the same.
It's more about with the time clock and things like that, speeding the game up. That's more to do with contracts and TV contracts and things like that. I really don't think it was meant for the game. It's not meant for baseball because baseball is played a certain type of way. So the contracts and the TV powers to be is the one I would say that incremented that. You know, they asked them, could you find a way to speed up the games? And baseball players like it the way it was, baseball players. Right. But businessmen like it the way it is. It's due to the fact of speeding the game up, putting it in a position where it fits in a TV slot. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
And as a baseball player, how do you told us how you feel about it? Because you think the pitcher should be able to kick around and get his mental right. But the TV contract people don't care about your mental. Get your butt up on that mound and pitch that ball.
I would say part of that too, and I just think it went through a period where baseball, they were losing fans. You know, because the games are 5 hours long, and the score was also the scores did 2-1, and you know, and you know, it wasn't the quality,
right?
But like you said, you and your wife, our kids are going to know how to play now. You know what I mean? They're going, you know,
they're going to know the game.
You know, we sort of got priced out during, unless you were a star, you got priced out during travel ball. You know, because I know I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you right now if she would have had to pay $15,000 for the summer to play baseball. You know what I mean? It would just the summer ball. You know, starting at 8, 9, 10 years old, I would have never played. And you know, when I came up and I'm glad I did it the time I did, because each team had like 6 or 7 African Americans on it that could relate to you. Now we have some teams that don't have any. You know what I mean? We have some staffs that don't have any. We have some minor league organizations that don't have coaches and players. You know, it's like
It's a mind trick.
it could be a mind trick.
It's a mind trick.
But I think it's
What I'm saying about the mind trick, bro, is they're getting people that look black, but they're not. You understand? That's the mind trick to TV. Oh, we got black players, but if you interview them, they can't speak a lick of English, but they look like you.
Yeah.
But they can't speak a lick of English. That's the mind trick I'm talking about.
No, I feel you on that. And like I said, shoot, I played in some of them countries, and what they have to go through, you know, like you said, I got much love for all of them. But I'm just saying, it goes back to me, it's deeper, because the commissioner didn't even if he didn't know what to say, call you and say, I didn't know what to say. You know what I'm saying?
Or just say, I don't care.
Yeah, or, you know, I will get back to you or something. So, so to me, it goes back to, I really don't care what they say, what they're thinking about. And, you know, as long as we throw out these tributes once every 6, 7 years or 10 years, and, you know, allocate money to, you know, alliances and stuff like that, that you know, that everything's going to be okay. But to me, it's deeper than that. You know what I mean? It's about, you know, the RBI programs. It's crazy.
You know,
back when I was playing, the draft, the major league draft, high school and colleges and playground. And they didn't go overseas drafting nobody, because, well, the players that came over here played with the Negro League team was drafted over here because of that, some of them. But what I'm trying to say is that the major league scouts will go over there in those countries. Once they found out some great ball players come from over there. Same thing with the Negro League. They found out some great black ball players, so they started drafting Hank Aaron and other base. Over there, only way a kid got in the major league is that a scout would go over there and scout him, find out his major league material, take care of the family, and give him the best of training. And when you knew one thing, you were with the New York Yankees, you know, Baltimore Orioles, some other team. They didn't go through the draft. Now they got to go through the draft. But I'm speaking of back when they didn't have to. You know, now all the players have to go through the draft, and that's one of the reasons I'm saying the major league have changed. Greg, another change was that that drug they said make you hit the ball.
But do you
that
think
brought back a big change in baseball?
Yeah. Do you think that they thought that the darker skinned players from overseas was less problem than the African American in America? It was less problems. They took Jackie Robinson Curley out of all the black neighborhoods. So that stripped baseball from the young black youth. You know what I'm saying? Because most of the Jackie Robinson Curley was funded, you know what I'm saying? And they was able to get black kids like myself and Greg the opportunity to play baseball, not for free, but for cheap. But then we had this era that we went through where it was a lot of drugs and gang members and blacks talking back, black power and all that. And as a white owner, you say to yourself, why even attempt to change who they are when we can just go over to the Caribbean islands, over to the places that's a darker skinned people, and bring them back over here that could play. And now we can stop the complaining of we don't have black or African Americans playing baseball. You understand what I'm saying? So I felt that they said we can go over there and get a darker skinned man that's less problems and that's going to be more appreciative than the ones that we have here in America.
Right. And I think money has something to do with it too.
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah, because we understand the dollar. They didn't.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. They were able to sign them for when I was coming up, I mean, they got great ball players. And like I said, I played with a lot of them, man. They were great. You know, it's just sad now that, I'm watching the College World Series as it goes on now. And we're starting to come back a little bit. You know what I mean? It's we shouldn't have to say we're starting to come back because we should have never left. But we're starting to play baseball again.
Baseball is an American sport. Why come it's not more black kids playing? Because we are black Americans.
Grambling College had a good team this year. They got to the sectionals. They lost out. But you're going to see a change. And it's going to take a couple of years, but you're going to see a big change coming.
But the majority of Grambling players are white.
Yeah, Grandma players, but they're coming back now. But you're like the Duke softball, African American coach, and you start to see our kids starting to play. We're starting to come back a little bit, but you have to be a superstar to keep going. Otherwise, those teams you have to pay $15,000 a summer.
A few years ago,
it's pricing you out.
I was invited to the College World Series, and I was autographing my book there, and I saw all the teams. I could count black players, and this is less than 10 years ago, less than 7 years ago. I could count the blacks on the teams on two hands.
Now, you didn't say team, you said teams with an S.
The league.
That's right.
10 players. I could count the whole league. I saw 10 black players on the whole team that was coming. And this year, it's about 20 or 30.
The fact that we have to count is a shame.
It's sad. It's really sad. But I happen to watch them play now. You see a few black players playing, more black players playing now. And like I said, Greg, in a few years, you're going to see, that's why I'm proud of my wife. She's done such a great job with it. She's a teacher, and she felt that it was something that the kids should know. They should, in Little League in Milwaukee, and I'm speaking of the league I was involved with. When word went out, who wants to play baseball? You got 9 and 10-year-olds coming out there. I want to play. Never played before in their life. Ball hit them one time, they quit. And this went on. And the daddy, he would come and he coached. He doesn't know nothing about baseball, but he's the coach because, they need a coach. As soon as he get old enough to leave the game, dad gone too, so he got to get another coach. This is just one of the problems, but there was so many. So we came up with another program. We're going to train coaches. My wife, we're going to train young. In the meantime, she's training the youngsters, the game of baseball, the history. At the same time, the older kids being trained as coaches and umpires.
Right. You know what?
So this is the best way we can help out that way. Maybe some other school outfit will catch on and do more and more and more because it needs to be done. But if they don't know, Little League, they don't get it there, Greg. They don't come back, man.
No, baseball's a skill sport.
Don't get 10 years old playing baseball.
No, you're absolutely right.
Not winning. That's all, not winning.
Yeah, it's not like going to play football or basketball. Baseball, if you don't play it, by 10, 11, you're not stepping in that box. You're not catching the ball. It's going too fast, and you don't have the tolerance for it. But once again, myself, James, Life After Sports 23, we want to say, thank you, and I will see you soon, my friend. In Milwaukee. Tell us a little bit about what's happening in Milwaukee, and I'm gonna try to bring my grandson down there for that. You know what I mean? So he can, be a part of that because.
That's the Brewers will be honoring me August 18th, and I don't know. It'll be several Negro League ball players here coming to be with me, But I'm looking forward to that, Greg. And I Hope to see you there.
You're gonna see me. I promise you that. You're gonna see me there.
Okay.
I already talked to Mrs. B. We already got it lined up. You know.
All right.
I'm gonna see you the
Okay.
day before, then do the church in the morning, and then.
Last thing real quick.
Yeah.
So in his book, is it ready?
All right, well, you've been there before, but this is gonna be a little different.
Yeah, okay.
I
Hey.
guarantee you.
Okay. Hey, one more question. Are you the man to beat the man?
I'm the man that beat the man that beat the man.
All right.
That happened, hey, Greg, 1953. Racine, Wisconsin. We were playing against the Detroit Stars. And I was pitching. I don't know if you heard of Gerald Lefty McGinnis. He should be in the Hall of Fame because he was throwing that ball and he was twice my age, older, you know. And I beat him. I won the game. And after the game, Double Duty walked over there and said, hey, boy. He said, you just beat the man. I said, what? He said, Lefty is one of the very few pitchers to beat Satchel Paige. He was known as the man. So you beat the man that beat the man that beat the man.
Because they make you the man.
That's how I got it.
Hey, you know, like I said, we have a saying here. First of all, tell everybody where they can get your book. And hey, this is a must read. This is a must read.
You can get the book at any bookstore.
Mm-hmm.
Amazon got it.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can send go to the website, yesterdaynegroleague.com, and order from the bookstore, from the store.
All right.
All right, thank you.
Autograph copies.
Yes,
Autograph
sir.
copies. Yeah,
Yes,
I have mine. Hey.
All right, good time.
I have mine right there.
Yes,
You got
sir.
your autograph copy? Okay, Greg.
Hey, we have a saying
All right.
here. We have a saying here on Life After Sports 23. You know, and once again, from the bottom of my heart, I can't wait to see you. And you know,
Okay.
a tribute that's way overdue, and I wouldn't miss it for the world.
Thank you.
And James, what did we say?
Hey, you are something that we call a person that breaking chains, and you built a lot of dreams. And God bless you,
Thank you.
for
Thank
doing
you.
that.
Hey, you know what? Robin? Where's Robin now?
Robin's in Arizona, but he's a good man too.
Oh, he's down in
You know
Arizona.
what?
Okay.
I'm gonna send the information to Robin Young.
Okay.
I'm gonna send it to Robin Young
Okay.
and tell him what's happening to make sure you're there.
Hey, I want to know
All
one.
right.
I want to know one thing. Can I ask one thing? When you became the man to beat the man to become the man, what was the last pitch you threw?
We call them drops. In my day, sinkers. The major league call them sinkers,
So you struck out your last guy with a sinker.
sliders.
What was the last pitch you threw?
A drop.
A drop.
That's what I threw. It hit the ground and it swung right over.
Oh, get him, baby.
Hey, Mr. B, thank
God
you so
bless,
much.
Mr. B.
Hey, God bless you.
All right.
And I'll.
All right.
Okay, talk to you later. Thank you.
Bye bye. See you
soon,
later.
Greg.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.